Hello guys, BODL time. We're going to have a little look at all the teams. I'd say do a little preview, but to be honest, it's more just me having a look, see what I'm going up against, because these are the teams in the BODL from first glance are considerably more stacked than they would be in the BBOL. How stacked? We'll find out because I'm going to work my way down. So, we're going to start with Magica. Mighty Cordova, Don Kozat, Star Moonbeam, Raquel Lebrena, Davy Marion, Earl Abbott, Francis Bluer, Stephanie Morgan, Jordan Fauna. There's a lot of speed in this team, and the people that don't have speed, and to be honest, there's only one person you can really say doesn't have speed, but even five's not terrible. I assume Magic is going dirt. Pitching wise, Earl, Francis can, Marty obviously can. I mean, Jordan's got a good pitch, Rachel's got a good pitch. Not a huge amount of power, but if it's dirt, are you just trying to grounder people to death? Probably. I mean, Dawn with Star, with Earl. I'm not that bothered about Earl, but Dawn and Star, it's pretty tough. Because if these two get on base, I assume then you follow up with Lebrena and then with Davy. Oh, actually, you could go Davy and then Lebrena. Even if Davy just gets a simple line drive off, or Francis for that matter, these two get home. So, I mean, it's a dirt tempo team. Just go grounder until you get to the power people. And then, to be honest, you don't even need to go homer. You could just go line drive. You've got enough speed, you can get on the bases, so why not? Yeah, this team's really solid. I've seen stronger in this like league, but yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this team. Pekka. Oh, good lord. Oh, good. Oh. Okay, so you've got Chico, Lindsay, and Zen. Barry Bonds, Randy Johnson. It's like someone just raids the S. It's like you just raid the S tier, the S plus tier. How do you deal with this team? There is there not really? I was going to say there's walking potential, but there's not really. There's so much power there. I mean, you could wait for Marky or Jacinda, but if you stick, I mean, you could put Barry there too, and Uma. Put Uma on the end. So at least then if she gets walked, it's not that big of a deal. Get Chico and me. You could lead off with Barry. You do sandbag Lindsay a little bit. Does it matter? Not really. Honestly, just for value and be a little bit greedy, you could start off with Barry and then go straight into like. Which way would you do this? Probably go Lindsay, Chico, Zenon, Umo at the end, and then just put your guff at the end, because it'd be very difficult to not score with that kind of lineup going into it. And then after Uma, you could just go Jacinda, because at least then you've got the high contact, so she will at least get someone else, if there is anyone else there, across the bases. And then who cares? Billy and Marky, who cares? I'm not a fan of Billy and Marky, but listen, that is Randy Johnson and Billy at first, so that's a 5-5. So that 100 arm is actually going to feel like 100 arm. Yeah, this team's insane. Again, this is one of those all-power teams where it really depends who has the team, but Peck is pretty good. Yeah, that's a scary team too. Right, match. Yeah, this is a problem. Is it really a problem? Yes. Yes, it is. Pitching-wise, it's got Leia. Unless you're pitching with Angela. Actually, I do think Matchwood likes using Angela. Okay. It's bad, right? It's really bad. This power on Matitude. I have versed Matitude before. He is a very consistent hitter. Basically, when this team's on the offense, I'm not entirely sure what you're going to have to do apart from just have the pitching game of your life. On defense, however, could I grounder this team to death? They are not the fastest. And there is clunks of, like, no armness. And, like, lacking in attention. You could grounder this team to death. Unfortunately, what I have to ask then is, would me groundering be a consistent enough input of runs to outdo what he would do on offense, just going for home runs? I'm not convinced it is. This is potentially a win condition against anyone. But if you grounded them to death, maybe. But you're gonna have to. Your pitching game's gonna have to be tip top. I mean, you can walk Fabian, but not really, because against who? I wouldn't particularly want to walk against Ronnie, so why would I walk against any of these? Jeremy's probably the only one that I would walk Fabian and feel safe knowing Jeremy's behind it, but that's literally it. That team's insane. Who is this? I can't even see. Who is that? It's my Sam's. Sosa, Pablo, Debbie, Zoe, Hillary, Francesca. Yeah, this is just a good all-rounder. This is just a good all-rounder. There's nothing wrong with this team. Sammy and Pablo. Debbie, very consistent line driver. Definitely has plenty of home runs in her locker. I would just go line drive with Debbie, though. Hillary. I've scored plenty of home runs with Hillary. And Melissa, for that matter. I think the idea that you have to have 90 power to be a consistent home runner. Yes, but I think there's a limit. I think Debbie can be a consistent home runner, right? I think 90 is a little bit cruel. I think 85 plus. Especially if you have the contact to back it up. I think there's plenty of home runs to be had there from Debbie. But the arm's decent. Who's he pitching with? I assume Fernando Diaz. So Melissa or Jason, one of them is obviously going first. So where's the other one going? I mean, the coordination in the eye is fine, so I guess you could put one of them in the outfield, but 4 speed is a bit rough. You can stick them on third, but they haven't got the arm. Second, I guess, but again, 4 speed. I wonder. I'm curious where at least one of these goes. I know one of them goes first, but I don't know about the other one. It's a really solid all-rounder, though. All these teams are good, because it was done by the auction. Just about. Stern, Pete, Juan, Face, Dan, Yvonne. Yeah, it was up. Pamela, Carlos, Sean, Nancy. I've actually already played this team. This is the only team that I've already played. I did a scrim. The only scrim that I've done since week 14 in the BBOL. I've already played this team. A lot of scary line drive potential. Like, as far as consistent hits, like this is pretty damn consistent, right? And Pete to lead off. Once Pete gets on the base, it becomes a bit of a struggle. However, after Pete, there's no one that I would say is like really scary. But this isn't a scary team. It's a consistent team. I lost the scrim against Stern 1-0 at the bottom of the 6th just because I did a left hook with Nikki. Sorry, not Nikki. Henri. And I asked a little bit too much out of the hook. And Juan Gonzalez got on the end of it. So it was just like a line drive home run. But apart from that, it was a good, do you know what? Dare I say, this is almost a defensive team. In fact, I would say this is probably more a defensive team than anything else. It's not a speed team. The speed is consistent, obviously, all these 6s. Very consistent. But it's not a speed team, is it? This is probably a defense team more than anything else. It's a defense team with Pete as a win condition. I really like this team too. Diski, Marilyn, Zena, Alexis, Stuart, Randy, Raquel, Jim, Raphael. Okay. I mean, he's got the big batters, right? He's got Raphael, he's got Alexis, he's got Xena. Problem being, I think all of them are walkable. I wouldn't walk Alexis anyway, but I think some people would. But obviously, Raphael's walkable. Xena's walkable. There's consistent enough hitters. I don't know about Randy, but Marilyn definitely. Consistent enough hitters that you can get them around the bases. Not sure about Raphael. I mean, Stewart's there too, right? So you could just start off with Stewart, and then just go like. Depends how greedy you want to be. I'd probably go Stewart into Marilyn to be greedy, and then maybe go Xena, Raphael, Alexis. I think that's probably the your safe bet. But if Stewart doesn't get on base at the start, it becomes a little bit limited. Again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this team. There's nothing wrong with nearly all of these teams. But this is beatable. I mean, they're all beatable on the day. But there's little things to pick out there, I think. DH, Clanky, Wally, Samuel Milton, Carl, Gillian, Wendy, Tony, Liz, Betty. I'm versing this team tonight, so I've already had a little look at this team. Carl and Wendy are two of my favourite kids in the game. Carl is justified. Wendy being one of my favourite kids in the game is probably not justified, but it is. A lot of arm. A lot of arm. But my only issue, the only issue I kind of see with DH's team is where's the power? Samuel Middleton has that Demi Nagasawa thing going on where it's consistent enough that you could get some home runs out of Middleton, and you can definitely get a lot of consistent line drives out of Middleton. Betty's the only one that I would say can really get the home runs regularly. The problem with Betty, I think, she's kind of on her own. The idea is if you get the power batters and then put them behind each other, it makes walking a lot more risky to do. But who do you back up Betty with? I mean, yeah, you could back Betty up with Middleton for a consistent line drive, but Betty's still a four speed, even with a consistent line drive. I mean, Betty does have 93 stamina though, so you can really sprint it out. And then you have to get someone on base before Betty. I mean, Cal can do that. Wally can do it. Wally's actually really good. I think Wally's very underrated. Clanky's a funny one too. I feel like Clanky, whenever I play Clanky, he's got a nasty little hit in him actually. Not all the time, but occasionally he has a nasty little hit on him. I'm a little concerned about the stamina. The infinite stam cheese that Clanky can get away with. Especially with a lot of my team being two heights, but we'll get to that. But yeah, we'll see. There's nothing wrong with this team. This team's really strong. I just think maybe you could do with a little more power. If there was one more power, say you got rid of... You need Wally. Jillian. Yeah, I'd get rid of Jillian. If you got rid of Jillian and got, say... Who else does people have in that area? Alright, well, you're not going to get Lindsay, are you? But I think DH had quite a lot of money left. 164. So, I mean, like, if you had a... Not a Joan. Parker, yeah, maybe a Parker. Someone like a Davey. This team would really be off to the races. It's a good team, though. It's a great team. I just think it's that consistent line drive that might be an issue. That consistent line drive. That consistent home run potential that's kind of lacking. Right, Mike Madness. It's funny because he did a trade with Will recently. And I do actually believe it has made his team better. There's a decent amount of power to get around the bases. Christina and Joan are a little slow. Missing Maynard really helps. Brenda, Isabel. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Before the Maynard and Wei Tran trade, I think this team was struggling. And that has helped considerably. This team's off to the races a bit more now. It's a shame, right? It really is, because I think with Mike, a lot of the time, because obviously Mike struggled a little bit with the BBOL this season. I hope it's not once a year. But I think Mike is a lot better than that. The problem that Mike seems to have is his teams usually just ain't very good. You look at the rosters, like the team roster, and it's just never... It doesn't gel. You know what I mean? Like, they have good players in them, but they don't... The chemistry, like, between them doesn't really work out. And I think that's kind of a running issue. See, I really like Tanya. Tanya's great. BT can do a job. I'm not a big fan of fourth speed pitches, but BT is BT. Joan May. I mean, the home one's there. Morelli's fine. I have Frankie Holly, so I can't say anything about Isabel Morelli. Maynard. Ezra. I think Ezra's really good. Compared to some teams in this list, it is still kind of weak. However, it's considerably better than it was. There's definitely a lot more runs coming now because you've got some consistent people now on the board. Yeah, this is a lot more consistent. It's a lot better. Loba. I hate versing Loba. I've never felt so battered in my life. Right, Jay Green, Tanya Lesko, Sophie Myers, Sally Dobbs, Nikki Winston, Dante, Courtney, Gary, Mandy. These HLers, they really have the monopoly on the power players. I mean, you walk Sophie, but into who? Dante is literally the only person in this team that I would be perfectly happy pitching against. I don't want to verse a Mandy. Not Mandy. I don't want to verse a Loba. Sally Dobbs. I know it's one contact, but I don't think it matters. Gary Allen, Courtney, maybe Courtney. I'm comfortable pitching against Courtney too. I can't walk Nikki. Not with that many other power people. Again, it comes down to pitching. Listen, if you just have a really good pitching game, you'll be fine, but God, it's so much power. There's only so much you can do. KC. Kenny. Over Kenny. Conseco, Blakely, Norma, Lena, Shane, Omar, Joella. Shane's another player that I think's underrated. On dirt. Not sure about anywhere else, but certainly on dirt. Maybe on BCS. You could get away with Shane. There's a bit of bounce. Yeah. So, pitching-wise, I'm assuming it's Omar. Loma at catch. Lena at catch. I mean, this is just a good all-round team. The power's still there. Joella, Ken, Jose, but it's got mixed in people who can get around the bases consistently, so this is a bit of an all-rounder rather than an all-out power team. But it's still a lot of power. It's still a lot of power. Yeah, this is going to be a scary team. I have seen one result. Someone showed me a scrim. I'm not going to say who. That KC was in. And safe to say, KC won that match. And KC was against someone who is comfortably better than me. So, do I verse KC at any point? I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But this is the draft and not the actual team management. I'll see if I can switch over to so we can have a little look at that. Right, red. Ivan, Lowy, Barry, Chipper, Alex, Molly, Ruth, Kurt, Lowy and Barry are fantastic, right? I think Aegon's a little bit underrated. And Chipper's good. Where's the power, though? Molly and Lowy are fine. Lowy, I think, is consistent. You know, really getting the great hits off. Molly, not so much. But I mean, is it a defensive team? Not really. I mean, kind of is. Obviously, Lowy, Barry, Chipper, that is great defensively. But Molly, yeah. Alex, yeah. Ivan will gas out. Derek's... I don't like Derek. I don't... He's one... Derek's a weird one because he's low down enough that he kind of needs to be a specialist in something. Otherwise, he's kind of just average, below average at everything, and that's kind of what Derek is. He's got a good pitching kit, but so does Ivan. So does Kurt. Do we need Derek? Actually, maybe you do. Put Kurt at catcher. I'm not sure where you put Ivan. Maybe third. Pitcher Derek. Yeah, but then where do you put Molly? It's unfortunate, right? Because for Wed's team, I know he wanted Susan Gore, and there was a bit of a mix-up with the time deadline. Because that does need mentioning, because this team would look considerably better with Susan Gore was in it. Yeah. Red just has to play a defensive game, I think. That's probably the best, his best bet. Luckily, though, Red is a very defensive coach, so he plays similarly to I do. It's very slow, make your way around the bases. And yeah, this is his best bet with this team, so I think that's actually not that bad. With Fred Benson, Anna Goudreau, the Webbers, Lance, Sonia, Amanda, Jeff, and Kendall. This might be the first team that I'm like, not a single player here I could say is bad. They're either all around really, really good, or they're excellent at one specific thing. And yes, I include Jason in that because I like Jason. I think Jason's fine. The arm's consistent enough. Fred and Lance, okay, but one of them you can just hide at second. Probably Fred. And Lance. I mean, Lance has 100 coordination, so I'm not sure where you put Lance. You can't really put him in the outfield, can you? And you can't put him at third. I'm not sure what you do there. Defensively, either Fred or Lance has to go second, so I'm not sure where the other one goes. Who's shortstops? Probably Anna, right? You could put Jason there, though. But I do think... Oh, you could use a Weber. I mean, he's got loads of options. That's the only thing where I'm like... Fred and Lance, I'm like, where are they going to go? Or where at least is one of them going to go? But there's no bad players on the team. That's a really strong all-rounder. Me, so Henri Dijon, Maria Luna, Susan, Annie, Horace, Timmy, Trent, Frankie, Sheila. So it's a bit more speedy. Going for a more speedy team, I'm going to go on BCS. I'm going to play offensively, which is something I don't do. You fucking died. It's the only problem when you talk for too long. You go to drink something, but your throat's dry, so you just die. Right. Yeah, so I'm going for speed, so I'm going for a more offensive team. Can I play offensive? Here's the thing, right? Offensively is my weakest part of my game, right? However, if I'm going to go offensive, I can't make it much easier for myself than having Henry in the team, right? Henry, you'd assume, is good for a couple of ones this season. Susan is there for a backup. Maria is a very consistent line driver. Annie at first. Unger, I think, is going to have to go third. Trent, I think I might actually put in shortstop. And I can put Frankie at catcher. Which is a little bit... but if I have Susan Gore and Maria in the outfield, and then maybe... Unfortunately, I will have at least one person who's going to be a bit dud in the outfield. It's probably Sheila. Just because Horace and Timmy and Sheila are kind of all a bit when it comes to putting them in the outfield. But Sheila's slightly faster, so I just feel like Sheila's probably the player. Horace can go second. I think Henri's going to be my pitcher. I can pitch for Frankie Holly, but there's a lot... I mean, there's so much power in these teams. Do I want a pitcher whose best pitch is a heater? I just don't... I don't see it. My only issue with this team, and I think this is kind of where the offense needs to come into it. There's a lot of 2 heights in this team. In fact, I only have 2 free heights in this team. So, I'm rolling the dice a little bit. However, like I said, I did 1 scrim with Stern, finished 0-1. Defensively, they actually all did the job really well. I won't always be that lucky, because 2 height you out, like I said, it's rolling the dice, but I felt comfortable enough. So I'm happy with this team. There's wins to be had. If I can take out, and by take out I mean literally just get a win, against any of the HLers. There's a couple of HLers that I'm looking at and I'm like, I could beat them. I could beat them. On my day, I've got them beat. There's also 1 or 2 where I'm looking at and I'm like, on my day I could not get them beat. But we'll see. This is definitely a much more fun team. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the BDOL, to be honest. It's such a nice change of pace. Right, Depp, Keisha, Claudia, Kathy, Rowell. Oh my, defensive. It's a lot of speed though. This is Depp. This is such a Depp team. Lots of speed, lots of arm. No Webbers. I was very surprised by, but he probably did bid for the Webbers and just didn't get them. Kathy, Claudia, Keisha, Rowell, Lisa, Alex, Petr Chekhov. I don't mind Petr too much here. But again, who are you backing Petr up with? Keisha, I guess. Which isn't terrible. 87. Yeah, you can get away with that. The only problem is if you back Petr off with Keisha, if Keisha doesn't get the home run, but gets on base, Keisha's completely sandbagged by Petr. But there's a lot of speed. Claudia, Kathy, Rowell, Adam. I like Adam too. I think Adam's quite underrated. Where do you put Adam? Second? Maybe. Maybe. But you need to put Petra somewhere, so I guess Petra. You can't put... Where do you put Petra? I mean, always put your big dud batter second, right? But if you do that, where are you going to put Adam? Outfield, he's got no eye. And he's 2 height, so I wouldn't particularly want to put him in the outfield anyway. Third? You kind of have to, right? There's nowhere else you're going to put him. You can't put him at shortstop. Who do you put at shortstop? Probably... Actually, you have quite a high choice, to be honest. You could go Claudia, you could go Rowell, you could go Alex. I think I put Rowell shortstop, actually. I think I put Alex, Claudia, Keisha in the outfield. I think. Defensively, this is really strong. I will look forward to having another 16-inning game with you. Actually, I have a team that isn't defensive anymore, so it probably won't go that far now. It'll actually end in 6, one way or the other. Bayo, Julie Dunkel, Frank, Mike, Mayor, Tony, Dimitri, Vicky, Ernie, Cowan. So Cowan is Horace. So obviously, I'm assuming this is Steele. team's a little slow for Steele. But he has Dunkel, so... Again, once you have Dunkel or Henry, it's good for a couple of ones regardless. Vicky in the outfield is really strong. So who do you put in the outfield? Let's say you did Vicky and Ernie. Maya, catcher. Tony at first. Mike at third. Who do you shortstop with? No, you're going to have to shortstop with Ernie. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to shortstop with Ernie. So then maybe in the right field you would put... I mean, you could put Julie in the right field, I guess. I know the eyes are really bad, but Steele, the right field on Steele's not that big. She can recover if she drops it. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I'm not mad at this team. Frank Thomas, I don't like 4-speed pitches, but people swear by your Frank Thomases, your Beaties. I don't particularly like Randy Johnson or Christina Beattie either. But I just think pitches are very expensive for what they are. I can get Wing Kwan, and Wing will do a job perfectly fine, and it'll cost me like 3 rounds less. Of course, that doesn't apply here, but that's just BBOL eyes. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Julie does. Julie could, Julie's gonna have to carry a little bit, but it's Julie, so she definitely can do that. Will, Marcellus, Jeter, Emily, Vlad, Libby, Luan, Grace, Artie, Tina. So Artie and Tina are both defensive specialists. Stick Artie in the outfield. Stick Tina... Honestly, I'd put Tina at catcher. I don't care if it's less than 90 arm. I don't care. As long as it's in high 80s, that's fine as far as I'm concerned. 9 speeds are going to be hard to get off first anyway. I do debate if you need Luan and Grace. That seems a bit overkill. But it is speed, so, you know, what do you want, mate? I'm always a little bit aware, though, of when Luan gasses out. Libby's fine. Stick Libby at what? Third? Vlad, Emily, Derek. I mean, that's your outfield right there. Marcellus second. Problem is if you do that, Grace and Luan, one of them is pitching. Where do you put the other one? Oh, Libby Footman's going first. Right, okay. Libby's going first. You can't put Luan at third. You can't put Grace at third. You could put either or at second and put Marcellus at third. It's kind of gross. But a 7-speed third baseman? I'm not too mad at that. I'm just a little concerned about the arm. If the ball goes to third, Marcellus is going to lack the arm to get it straight to first. He could then throw it to the pitcher. The problem is the pitcher is going to be Grace or Luan, and they don't have arm either. I think Tino has to go third. But then do you put Marcellus in the outfield? I think you have to. Do you know what? I actually think that's more low risk than putting Marcellus at third, I think. Because I think if a line drive goes straight past Marcellus at third, that left side becomes very exploitable at that point. Unless you put Jeter in the left field. Or Vlad or Emily for that matter, with that arm. But you can't throw from the left field at first. You can throw from the left field to shortstop to first. But unless you're like a 4-speed, that's still not going to be enough. I don't think. There's really good players in this team. I'm just a little concerned about the chemistry. We'll see. I was out judgment on that one. That's a funny one. We'll see what happens. Right. Bog, Jessica, Kay, Veronica, Mo, Chris. This is very defensive. This is so defensive. Ironically, there's enough comparing Bog's level to some of the other people in this league. Even with a defensive team, there's still more than enough to guarantee in playoffs probably. Sarah and Jessica is wild. Mondesi and Boggs. Wayne Boggs is not in the game. KO Tool, Veronica, Mo, Kristen. I'm going to be a little bit bold and say I can beat this team. There's a couple of HL teams that I'm looking at and I'm like, I think I could beat that team, but I say that about a lot of people and then don't end up winning. I don't end up winning, so sometimes you have to wind your neck in a little bit. That arm is absolutely insane. He has a team medium of 94 arm. Well, if Bog pitches out of his skin, those power teams are just not going to get on base. But that's going to be that's the battle, over the fence versus not over the fence, and just running into that massive arm wall. I mean, defensively, that's fantastic. Give me this team in the BBOL, and oh, forget about it. Who's next? Ben, Mark, Jane, Mikey, Barb, Jose, Wing, Arlene, Ingrid, Dominic. I'm going to be perfectly honest. This smells. I don't wear any of those three. Ingrid's fine. Stick Ingrid on first. Should be fine. But is Ingrid even going to go on first? I think you probably put Ingrid on third, right? And then Jorge goes first. Mikey, no brainer. Jane, second. Oh, where's Mark going, though? Ooh. Dominic goes in the outfield. With Barb. Do you put Ingrid in the outfield? I think you do, you know. Nah, because Arlene's there. See, Ingrid and Arlene. I'd rather have Ingrid on first. I mean, first. You can put her on first, but probably third. Stick Mark on first. Because at least Ingrid has enough arm. It's similar to Horace Young's arm. That'll get you from third to first. Arlene, I don't think, has it in the locker. Arlene's second? But then where do you put Jane? I mean, you can just put Jane in the outfield. If you don't care so much about the arm. She doesn't recover very well, though. 30 arm. I don't know. Tricky. Some really good players, though. Yeah, there's some really good players. We'll see. Me versus Ben's going to be very interesting because I know he'll be wanting to right the wrongs that happened in the BBOL. That match was insane. Right, so, looking at these, which one's the best team? Honestly, if I'm saying the best all-round team, I think it's KC's. However, if I'm talking about just the best team in general, it could possibly be Loba, but to be honest, I think... I mean, if this isn't a win condition, I don't know what isn't. Defensively, he's really weak, but it might not matter. This is one of those teams that you look at and you're like, yes, defensively it's weak. They can concede. But his inning has to end first. And it depending on who he's versing, this could just keep going. He could be on double figures before the end of his inning. Yeah, I think KC probably has the best draft, but I think Loba's and Mattitudes, and especially Mattitudes, is absolutely gross. This is going to be a good tell because all these teams kind of, well, most of these teams all have better like standard compared to the BBOL teams, And because of that, the defensive teams are spot on defensive and the attacking teams are insanely attacking. So this is going to be a good way to kind of put that argument to bed of whether defensive teams really work in the meta. Really work in the meta now. I love defensive teams and I love slow tempo defensive teams. I don't think they do. But again, it depends how good of a pitcher you are, right? I'm not a bad pitcher. I force some stinkers, I'm not going to lie, but I'm not a terrible pitcher. I have my moments. I'm not going to say the worst team, because why would I want to pull on that win? Yeah, okay. Let's see if I can't open up to see who's versus who in week 1. Because why not? Why not? If I am going to pull at a thread, I may as well pull at one that, at least for some of them, it's already been done. So I need to go to BODL schedule? Resources. There we go, season 2. Yeah, cool. Right, so some people have already won, but let's have a look. Schedule week 1. Whiffy Loba. I think Loba takes it. I don't think that's a very big scorer. They're both really solid. I think I do edge it to Loba though. Disky Mike. I think Disky gets that. It's on Parks. Yeah, Disky gets that. It depends if Mike gets the opportunity to use is it Petra? Let's have a look. Who was it that Mike has? Joan. But is Disky going to allow Joan to get a swing off? Probably not. Magic and Matitude is going to be a good match, but I just don't know how you stop that offense. I'm going to go Matitude. DH v me. I think this sets the tempo for both of us. I don't think either of us can really afford to lose this because we're going to have a big. There's a lot of HLers in this league. So these are the games that we kind of need to be winning. I'm quietly confident I win, but you know we'll see on the day. KC Peck has already played. Matty Depp's already played. Good win for Matty. Red v BO. I think red. How much weight do I put in the Julie Dunkel win condition? That's tough, you know. I think I still give it to red. But Julie could play out of her skin there. Stern and Ben's already played. Okay. There are my predictions for week 1. Let me have a look, see how I've got in the other weeks. In fact, I can do a little prediction of how I think I'm going to do here. So, like I said, pretty confident against DH. Then I've got nobody. Ben Bath and Beyond. Ben on Super Colossal. I think offensively my team's kind of got it going on though. And there's no bounce, so we're a lot more reliant on just the power rather than grounders. I'm quietly confident on that one. Why not? I'll put my neck out there, because then if I'm wrong, people can clown me, and it's like, it's fair. If you're willing to make predictions, you have to be open to getting clowned. It's kind of just how it works. So that would put me on 2-0. Magica. I mean, I've beat Magica plenty of times before. But if you were to ask me on average who wins, Magica, it's probably like 25-75 that Magica wins every time we play. I'm not gonna. I don't see me really winning that one. There's a little bit too much speed, and it's dirt, and I have a lot of 2 heights. Yeah, I don't see it. So that put 2-1. Matitude. I tell you what, right? Listen, if I win that match, I don't care how the rest of the season goes. If I win that match, I am claiming myself as the best player of all time. Because I'm going to check my own hard drive for programs or mods or something that I've done to the script, because that should not happen. So 2 and 2. Stern. I always have so many. Every game I have against Stern is so close. And yeah, I always come out on the wrong side of it. This is very close as well. But it's same as the Ben match. I like Stern's team better than Ben's though. But because it is so close, why not put my neck out again and say 3? Yeah, I'm gonna put myself to win that one. 3-2. I know Stern doesn't like bounce, so neither do I. But I picked it. So we'll say that's 3-2. BO, I'm quietly confident in that, so we'll say 4-2. With... You're all going to say I'm a little bit crazy. And I am a little bit. Just a little bit. I think I could beat Whiff. Is that bold? It's a little bit bold. Am I saying I'm going to beat Whiff? No. I'm putting Whiff, obviously. But it's doable. In the same way Magic is doable. It's not likely, but it's doable. So we'll say it's 4-3. Disky. I haven't versed Disky since season 5. And I was a much different coach back then. But saying that, so was Disky. Out of the HLers, I'm most confident of beating Disky. But enough that I'm giving myself the win prediction. What's Disky's team? Let's have a look at Disky's team. I'm really putting my neck out on this. And this is the edge of putting my neck out. My neck's about to snap. I'll give myself the win prediction. So, 5-3? Pekka. I'd love to beat Pekka. I really enjoy playing Pekka. It's always a lot of fun when I play games with Pekka, but I've never beat Pekka, and I don't see that changing. So we'll go 5-4. Especially with that team. Where have I gone? DH again. 6-4. Obviously that might change depending on how the first games go. Ben, 7-4. Again, depending on how the previous one goes. Magica, 7-5. Matitude, 7-6. And then Stern, 8-6. So, if I'm being optimistic, I could finish 8-6. However, if I'm not being optimistic and I take away the Disky and I don't give myself the Stern games, I could be 5-9. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's all very up in the air. It honestly depends how the first couple of games go. If I lose against the BO games, the DH games, if I lose any of those, getting playoffs, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Right, this... Again, this always happens when I make these videos. It was supposed to be like 15 minutes long. This is 50 minutes. So, I need to go and do something productive today. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, thanks for watching. If you want to drag me, go ahead. Alright, in a bit.